Welcome to Create Before Consume. Now, here's your host, Fitz.
Good to go.
I'm all about the collaboration.
Me too,
Right?
me too.
Right.
So the spirit is good. Let's start off here. Who are you?
My name is Alan Tercios, aka I'm your storyteller by Instagram, all my social medias. I'm a videographer and I'm a brand manager as well.
Yeah, so this is how I figured out about you. So first off, I thought we don't know each other, and then it came out we're like at the same meetup with Ryan. You know, I just see you're like grinding out there in Tampa, like making them reels, putting the subtitles on, just like Ryan said to do, you know, and you're just like relentless on that. And I'm just like, damn.
You have to be, man. And it's funny because when I saw you, I'm like, okay, you look familiar. I'm like, I think you were at Ryan's event.
Yeah,
Like,
I was.
I was trying to connect two and two together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got it. And I'm just like, I think we split up in groups. Everybody went like different places, you know,
Yeah.
like food and whatever. And I think you were in a different group, I guess, or whatever. So I'm just like, also, I was very quiet at the event because like there was a couple things going on in my private life. Like my wife had an accident, yada yada. So I was like a little bit under the weather, you know. So I'm
How's
like,
everything now, though? Is it good?
we're doing, we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but everything's fine now, and I'm like, I saw you out there posting. It took me like 2 months to just even ramp up, and you're just like out there. Like I was like scrolling through the content. I'm like, holy moly.
Yeah. And I think another like important thing to do, like to think about, is that like when I was doing that content, like a lot of things that people like saw when you scroll through the page is like that was before like Ryan's event. Like
Damn.
I was just like at that point I was just editing myself, I was shooting everything myself. So it took me a while to get that out there, but once it was all done, I just unleashed it, you know. But I shot it all like in one day. That's how I usually do my shoots and everything.
Yeah, so Ryan, for everybody who does not know, he is like the would you say the inventor of the Alex Hormozi style, you know?
Yeah.
Because like Hormozi is killing the game with like the output, but Ryan invented it.
Yeah, so it's funny because I was at WealthCon in LA, and that's where Ryan began and Ryan Pineda, they were speaking with like other guest speakers. And it's funny because he was like, yeah, they say that it's the Hormozi style edits, but it's really the Ryan McGinn style edit because he was the one doing the content for Hormozi. But Hormozi was the first one who actually really put it out there. Him and Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
Who like put out that editing style, the subtitles, the animation, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, they have the budget to just push like, 5 editors, whatever, you know, just like crank me the content, you know, and that's like, okay. Then it becomes really valuable. But going back to like doing the thing, you know, how do you keep pushing? Like, what is your motivation?
So for me, I feel like everything is always trial and error.
Yeah.
Right. So when I post, I always try to see like, okay, you know, what does good? What do people react to? And it's not necessarily like views or anything like that. I'm like, okay, like comments or even DMs or something like that. Like that's how I measure like what people really like about me, you know. And honestly, I just have fun with it, you know. I'm a creator, I'm a videographer, so I've been doing this for quite a while. So that pressure of just putting stuff out has never really been like, you know, some sort of pressure for me. You know, like I've always seen it like, okay, like this is what I do, I love to show my creativity, but it's not even about keeping myself motivated. Like I have a certain purpose behind it, and the purpose is to really impact and change lives through what I do. You know, like,
I mean, your nickname says it all. Like, if you, for everybody again, just look in the camera and say, it's like, I'm your
storyteller. I'm your storyteller.
It's so easy to remember. I'm like, dang, that's a good name.
It's funny because how I got that name was that like I took a little bit from I took a little bit from other people and they just made it into my own. Yeah. So I had a friend that was on Instagram as I'm your landlord, and then another one was landlord. And then another one that was like storyteller this, and I'm like, okay, I like his name and I like his name. How can I make it into mine? You know, so like at the end of the day, it's not really imitating, but like you're taking a little bit from everybody, making your own, and that's the biggest thing like with content and social media 100%. Now. You know, which makes it kind of like easy. It's like, well, you know what, I'm gonna do that same thing, except I'm gonna do it my own style.
Yeah,
you know?
Put a spin on it, and that's like there's like one book, Steal Like an Artist, and it's like all about like, hey, what is content theft and what is actually like your own creation. And in the end, we cannot tell new stories. Everything has been out there. Everybody went through the same thing as we did, but you know, so it's like,
No, I get it. But now it's like you have all these tools that are coming out that can like, help you with storytelling, like AI. Like I'm not sure how you feel about AI.
Ooh,
but
it's a big one. It's a big one.
So what do you think about AI? Like, do you feel like it's a very like it threatens the career of anybody in video? Do you feel like that or no?
So this is now. I'm a little bit out of focus. Jesus.
You want to? Yeah, you could just.
Come on. Oh, now here we go.
You have it on auto?
Yeah. I put it on auto just because.
Gotcha.
AI is actually. I think it will be the end of video. If that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, because if you think about it, all the content gets easier and easier, animated, produced, and whatever. Now there's like text to video prompts, Obviously, quality is not there, And you consume video to be entertained, And there's already like AI characters out there. It's just a 3D model doing a TikTok dance, and you're just like, is that real or is that not real? Right. And it's like they're popping up more and more often, And it's usually like girls that are like, oh, and the guys are like, oh, they're kind of hot, And you just like watch it. It's just like our content will be soon to be like either you just consume like machines content because it's optimized for you consuming, and then there's no real reason to consume video. You know what I mean? Because like we already said, everything has been done, and and I'm like seeing like the end of the road, and I'm like, okay, video right now is the most important thing ever. It's the century of video, and it's the only way how you build connection, get discovery, and get all those things. But at what point you can even prove this person is real or not?
Right.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I have no idea. Like
when it comes to like the editing style too, like you see like the automated subtitles, and I just saw an app today I saw a video that it's a certain app. I forgot what the app is called, but it was cutting up like the video footage from Premiere Pro really fast.
I saw that one. Oh.
Yeah, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, that's interesting, but how well can they actually manipulate a story, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like people like us come in. It's like, okay, it's great because you know how tedious it is editing video. It's really annoying. That's why we have to like outsource our work and everything, right? Yeah. And even editors outsource their work. Editors.
I know a beginner. He's very driven, and $20 go far.
Yeah, editors find other editors. So and then I'm like, okay, but I think the biggest thing that I got from that event, and the event that I was in WealthCon, like talking like when Ryan was speaking and other content creators was, and this is a big point he made, that the subtitles really aren't the biggest driver for a good video. It's all about the storytelling, like the way that we can manipulate footage. Like, okay, maybe something that was said in the middle of the footage or at the end makes more sense to put in the beginning. Is AI going to know how to do that? Maybe not. Yeah. Or if they know how to do it, are they going to do better than us?
Yeah, I feel like on our strength right now is like basically like use ChatGPT 3, put like the text prompt in, like how you can get the whole thing auto described. Right. Put it in there. What is the most interesting part for starting a good hook? I think AI already can like tell you this is like probably the most interesting hook, but we don't use the tools now to the fullest capabilities, and then you still have to get that part and edit it with it. And I'm like, I can see it on the wall, like about to happen. You see what I mean?
I can see a trend forming, right? And I think for us, it's like, okay, the good thing for anybody that's in video is that you don't only have to offer short form content, because that they're tailoring it a lot towards doing short form content, right? But what about doing ads, videos for ads, doing videos for like weddings? I saw that you do weddings.
Yeah, I got a big one coming up on the weekend.
Exactly. Like, where's it at?
St. Pete Beach, and I'm like kind of excited because like doing weddings is like, it's a moneymaker, kind of. You know what I mean? It's like as a videographer, weddings is where it's at, but also like it's the least fulfilling in a weird way, because it's like always like a cookie cutter, content, like tell the same story the same way, because if you do it too creative, it's not anymore a wedding video, or there's a high probability of like, hey, I did not pay you to do like this creative whatever, so it's like you gotta be a little bit safe.
Yeah. No, I can see that for sure. And like the wedding thing too is because I did a couple weddings before already, and like I love shooting weddings. I think I've just transitioned more towards short form just because it's like right now the hot thing and it's so in demand. Like everybody wants to find that person.
Yeah, so we are talking right now about short form content on the wedding with the phone, or what are you talking about?
No, like short form, like social media. But I was going to transition back to the wedding though. So the wedding, like the things about wedding, like what makes it hard is that you only have like one chance to take that really good shot.
Yeah, high
if
pressure.
your shot isn't good that first time, you can't say to the bride, "Hey, can you walk back?" Because
hey, can you say yes again? It was not loud enough.
Yeah,
please.
exactly. Oh, my headphones weren't working, or the mic was messed up. It's like, no, like you have one try to do it all.
It's the one and done deal. Like you can't mess around. That's that's why I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras. Like I have every angle covered. So in case like something goes wrong, I know at least the BCD cam will cover it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's so many ways that you can like manipulate video when it comes to doing stuff like podcasts, doing stuff like short form content, running ads. Like you can, hey, just let's shoot that again. But with weddings, is like I love weddings, like 'cause I love that emotional feeling. Like I'm an emotional person.
It's a good thing. We're being human, like that's what's up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, but yeah, I think overall, like once we find that as like videographers, like a way to kind of like transition out of like AI just completely taking our position and like finding other like tools to like really work on and like other things that we can offer people, like people with weddings or like business owners, then we're gonna be like we're never going to be cannibalized or anything like that.
Yeah. So there's obviously big ifs and what if, and I'm just like, I don't know what it will bring. And also thinking about it doesn't lead to anything good, like it's like you see like the Terminator written all over the wall, like Skynet, whatever. You're just like, could happen. I don't know.
That's why it's important to have an open mind, and you got to be able to really innovate, because everything is always changing around us. So we don't change the way that we think, we're going to go right down that rabbit hole that AI is meant to drive videographers or whoever. Like we got to be able to adapt and innovate, just like how like the industry is doing,
Yeah, I mean, like in the end, it all comes back to what you kind of do. It's like, you're building a community and you build your tribe. You have your buddies, they hook you up with work. It's not like that they're going out like, oh, I hire now X, Y, and Z just because like he has like that special style, No, there's a little bit like, camaraderie and like, the buddies looking out for each other. And that is like where we will heading to. So my advice actually for the future, if this freaking thing is working, is basically like to trade, barter, and build communities. That is like the thing. Like, let's say AI can do everything without us. Yeah, well, we just don't use AI then anymore. AI does AI things, and we do like human monkey stuff, kind of whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like we're just trading with the people we want to trade with, and it's like more like a bartering system. But I mean, the transition time, iffy. I don't know what's gonna happen, if I'm right or wrong. I'm just like, okay, I don't want to think, and just keep on doing.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too about like to mention about AI is like it's really good at like making scripts, giving ideas and everything, right? But when it comes to somebody who's trying to put out that video content, how many people do you see who are really not comfortable being in front of the camera?
Yeah,
and that takes sometimes somebody there to kind of, hey, can you talk me through this?
Yeah, or have the eye contact with the camera and stare that thing down. It's so hard.
Because it's weird. Like, if you weren't here, Fitz, and I was just looking at the camera and just trying to speak to it, I'd probably have to do multiple retakes because I'm sounding too robotic or sounding too scripted and everything like that. You want to make sure that whenever you're delivering any piece of video content, it comes off natural. It comes off like, okay, I'm instructing people, but I feel comfortable. People will notice if you feel comfortable when you're delivering content.
Yeah, and I mean, that is like one of the biggest things. Like, video, very impactful, because like you see the personality of the client or whoever you're filming, and you're just like, now I'm connecting on a basis that I would not have if I saw a flyer of the company, like, oh yeah, they're offering that service. I don't even know if I like that person, You don't know how they are, but you watch the video. I'm like, oh yeah, I vibe this guy or I hate this guy. It's like the 50-50 chance. You know what I mean?
Right.
And video's perfect.
Right. I mean, it's the best way to showcase who you really are as a person.
Yeah.
Like, the in-person connection is always going to beat anything, no matter what, right? But now we have the ability to connect with multiple people around the world with how we present ourselves.
Exactly.
And you could just be yourself.
And
right?
you should, because like you can't fake steak. That's like my big statement, like you can't pretend you're like really informal or like really personal, but you're not. And then it's like people see like the everything. They see your body language, how you pronounce things, and they're like so good in detecting like, okay, somebody's a fraud or lying or whatever. They sniff that out before you even notice what you should change,
Right.
So it's like you got to be like 100%, and I'm like, it's the best thing.
Yeah, and even with my old stuff too, I'm like, because I usually shoot things myself when I do my content. But now I'm starting to get someone just to talk to me in front of the camera. Like, hey, can you just press the record button? Like, I have everything already scripted out and everything, but I need you to talk to me, right?
Yeah.
So just so like it doesn't come off like natural. I mean, it doesn't come off scripted or like a robot or anything like that. It's just because like it's just when you look back, you just kind of notice like okay, it's fake.
Yeah,
you know.
There's like a good and a bad way. Like the bad way is like to not do the video at all, you know, and the good way is like, okay, you can speak freely to the camera, look the camera, have eye contact with the viewer. That's like the optimum. But like even if you do like the scripted thing, it's a little bit lesser good, you know.
Yeah.
Or you do the off angle, I'm talking to you and the camera is filming me from there.
Yeah.
It's also not perfect, but it's at least better than not doing it.
Yeah, but I do like the podcast style stuff too, because when you're going through like changing multiple angles, right? Changing multiple clips, you might not be looking at the camera itself, but people know that you're looking at somebody. And then when you switch camera angles, they want to be engaged in the conversation too. They want to jump in. It makes them want to do that. So that's like another form of personal branding that I feel like is very slept on.
Yeah, question. Podcast undervalued 2023 or still fine?
You say it's undervalued?
Yeah, or not. What's your opinion?
I think it's very undervalued.
Okay.
I think it's very undervalued because it's the same thing with like it's a very high demand thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a high demand thing, people want it, right? But what makes it different? I think the biggest thing is like how are you going to brand your podcast? Because a lot of people have great things to talk about, very interesting things to talk about, but how do you frame that? How do you present that in a way like, okay, that stands out? Or like, oh, that fits my needs, or that solves my issues that I'm trying to solve for my business, or whatever you're trying to promote. Like, even it could be an emotional thing too, like my emotional pain, like that for like relationships or whatever.
We saw like from the meetup.
You see, I knew I wasn't lying. I knew I saw you at that event.
Yeah, well, I was taking notes, and I was
taking so many notes.
I was like regretting, like the hook, the meat, and whatever. I'm just like
the cub method and everything like that.
I'm just like, I wish I could read my own thing again.
No, it's all of that stuff too, man. Everything he was saying, I was like, like the psychology behind it, you know?
It's a big part. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I made some good connections, and and some people went super viral, what was his name? He made like a gym reel about like having a good habit and like making a selfie going to the gym just makes you more, like
he was one of the guests.
Guest
speakers, or
he was my group basically when we were going out eating or whatever. He has over 1 million views on one reel that he made.
Really?
It's like him talking about like it's good for the like making a selfie in the gym, so it looks like now you have the social. I cannot speak.
No.
Yeah, I forgot. I even made a reel about it, so I should know all the words. He killed the game, got 1 million views. And like if you implement what you learn, there's like some things flopped, some things just work, and I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, and I think people have like a misunderstanding of like what, like, and it's something that Ryan explained too about like what makes viral content. Like I said, like, if you want like 1 million views, right, you can do it from your phone. You don't need like a fancy camera, right? You could go streaking down, St. Pete, downtown St. Pete, and get like 5 million views, right?
That stuff makes me mad. Like, not gonna lie here, we're investing in the gear and everything, and I had people on the podcast, and they're just like, okay, we're doing van life, for example, and they got several million views. They don't have a professional camera. It's all filmed on an iPhone. Then like other people like making music and making art, everything filmed on an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Every videographer that I know struggles to make views and like make a living vivid, and it's like not creative enough and organic enough. You know what I mean? But the people who don't have the gear, they don't think about the gear, and they just like make creative content, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, because it's all about the idea. It's all about like the strategy that you have. Like, and I think like videographers need to stop worrying about like, oh, is my video good? Because it could be amazing. I've seen some amazing videos. I'm like, wow, that's like, that production's
500
crazy.
views, whatever.
It's got 500 views. The views doesn't correlate to how well the video was done. So that's why I don't really focus too much on views, because I'm like, okay, I know my stuff is good.
Yeah.
Like, and I know
it's also like who posts it. That's another thing. Like some people like think like, oh, if I have that subtitle style and your account is small and you don't have any people engaging with you because they think like, oh, you're kind of lame, whatever, I don't want to listen to you, and it's like a personality thing. You have beef with your own following,
right?
Because there's like there are haters in every group, you know. There's haters, they don't want to see your success, so they don't interact with your content. But if a bigger person who already broke out of the shell, you know, and he has like the following of supporters because they believe in him, you know, and they just engage with the content, the outcome of the same content is completely different.
Yeah, it is. And I think that also goes down to like what type of content you're delivering. Like, are you delivering stuff for views? Are you delivering stuff for lead generation? Because like for lead generation, you're not going to get many views. It's boring.
Yeah, nobody wants to be sold at.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you know, But what is your goal? Is your goal to make more money? Is your goal to make more, like, get more of a following? If you need more of a following, you need to talk about like broader topics. You need to do funny stuff or all that stuff. But that all comes with what strategy you have that connects to your brand, right?
Business owners. No, I cannot smile. My laugh is not fine. My hair is not fine. And I'm like, you know, like, well, nobody really cares. Like, they want to see you being entertaining and not like being like picture perfect with the fake smile. It's like, well, I'm like.
Yeah, and that's why there's like different types of videos, like corporate and like when you're running ads or like shooting videos for ads. Like, okay, it depends on, again, on the scripting and everything, but it's meant to try to get those like sales immediately. Whereas like short form personal branding is not meant to get sales like that. It's meant to build a brand, a trust, a following. So it's a different structure that you need. You know, for me, like, I did a lot of stuff with lead generation, you know, and like that's why with views, it's like that doesn't get many views. Don't expect many views through lead generation.
So now I have to go back to like, okay, who are you? What do you do? And I was like, okay, I invited you, and usually I'm like, okay, what are we gonna talk about? You know, and I'm just like, do a little background check, and I'm like, okay, you're in real estate, so lead generation, you know, creating the content, and real estate people, they're killing the game with the content creation. They're just like, oh yeah, I need that follow me around video. I need like talking about whatever, so I get my commission. So what else you have experienced then besides like making the shorts and reels? And
are you talking like just specifically in real estate?
Oh no, in general. Like, what besides all that, what do you do? Because like I did a little bit deep dive, and I'm like, okay, I saw a couple things.
I'm scared of what you found, man.
Nothing bad.
Yeah, I mean, I was like involved in real estate, and that's why I feel like I contacted a lot of people for content with real estate, because I used to so right now, like, I actually am like a referral agent. So anybody who needs to buy a house or anything, like, I refer them to realtors, to quality realtors though, not to just any realtor. And then I get a commission whenever they do buy or anything like that. But I
did not know that's a thing.
It is, so all you gotta do is get a real estate license, right?
So wait, if you make a referral to a real estate agent, you need the real estate license?
Yes, to collect the commission.
Oh.
Yeah, and you need to have your license up with a brokerage. So mine is up with like a certain referral group based out of Fort Myers, because I came from Fort Myers. And like a couple last year, like I referred a couple people, and like I was able to just collect the check. But the way I do it, like, I don't just refer you to anybody. I'm just like, okay, like, let me see like what fits your needs. You know, like, how do I position you to lead you to success? Because if I don't put you in the right place, I'm not going to get a commission. So I still got to do some digging, some background checks, like how you did on me. You know,
it sounds
like,
so bad. No, but I'm like always like, you know, I want to know if they have a YouTube channel, if they're hustling, you know. And I saw like you were out there hustling. What was it, like the toss? You had a podcast or something.
Oh, the Toast to the Goodfellas.
Toast to the Good.
So it's funny. So like I'll give you the story, and this is how I kind of fell into video too. Like, so with Toast to the Goodfellas, so I was working a corporate job. And I was like watching a lot of podcasts and everything, and you know, Joe Rogan was like, he's the podcast king, right? He can have 3-hour podcasts and nobody cares, they'll watch it, right? So I started just diving into the rabbit hole with his podcast. So I put on my story one day that I want to start my podcast, and then my friend, he DM'd me and was like, hey, I want to start one too. So we're like, okay, let's start it together. We met up at a Panera Bread.
Panera Bread. Make the business plan.
Right? Panera Bread, Starbucks, that's like the best like places to go and get business ideas. So
cookie and soup.
Right. So like we planned it out. We wrote some bullet points. We weren't even doing video at the time. We were actually we set up the laptop. We got like these little screw-on mics. We put it on my dining table in my apartment, and we're just trying to figure out on GarageBand. like the audio on GarageBand. We were like, whatever, man. Let's see how this works.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, and then we just put out the audio versions and like graphics
100%.
and everything like that. And then like it got to the point where I had a friend of mine who connected me with a friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine now. Josh Baker. He's based in Fort Myers. EQ recording studio, and he's like, hey, listen, like I got a studio. If you guys want to come, I really like your idea. If you guys want to come record here, you know, I'll do it for free, and then you know, you guys give me leads. But this is right when he just started. Now he's like, he's busy. He's busy. He's killing it now, right? But yeah, he offered us that, and then we were able to like get in people there. We were able to like set up like mics like this, and then I'm like, you know what? Let me invest in the camera because I kind of want to start like putting out.
I mean, you don't need much, theoretically. Right. One camera is good enough sometimes. Like, get the wide angle look and you're just good to go, and then editing.
Oh, man. Like, because think about it. Yeah, get the wide angle look, and then you could just cut up short form from your side and my side. All you can do is just zoom into the post-production, you know? And then, like, the third angle will be the actual long form. But, like, through that podcast, we talked with entrepreneurs around the area just talking about their business, give them, like, free marketing in a way, and kind of, like, talk about some, like...
It's like a win-win situation that you built.
For everybody. Yeah. For me, like, for them, for the studio owner, everybody. Everybody. Because, like, and especially for the studio owner, because eventually he'll get more referrals and everything for his paid business. But, we talked about, like, those things and then, like, just hot topics. You know, like, back then we were doing it, a lot of like political stuff was going on, so we didn't try to get too political, but like we talked about certain things that was going around the actual community itself. Like how can we tie it back to the Fort Myers community? So there's a lot of people who like reached out to us to do it and everything.
I saw the account. It actually grew well, like on IG, and I'm like, okay. I was not sure after I saw it on YouTube if you still do it, and then I checked the IG. I'm like, okay, there's still stuff going on. I'm just like,
But as you know, like doing podcasts, it requires a lot of work and consistency. So I was just like, it got to the point where like I ended up moving out of Fort Myers because I had a couple things I had going on, and we're just like, all right, we could revisit this whenever. But now it's like the podcast area, like it's still there, you know, if you do it right. Like I have a client who I set up a somewhat podcast type of thing. We don't have like this amazing setup that you have.
You're halfway there. This is the only thing that you really need, you know? It records immediately onto the USB stick. Editing is done. As long as you make the switches with the angles. Yeah, you see? And so that means saves on editing time. You know, you also can program like, so we're talking here about the Blackmagic Design A10 Mini Pro.
Yeah, I just got that.
It's a banger. Like I love it a lot because like, it saves so much time on editing. I don't really have to edit camera angles. I'm like, I just slap the audio on there in case the audio is messed up from the backup, and I'm good to go. Quality is banger too, and I'm just like, everything is baked in, no editing.
That's exactly why I got it, because there's times where I set up a couple of cameras. I'm like, I need to like kind of not do this in post-production, line it up and everything if it's already done. Because like if I have two people talking and I'm just listening in, I'm just boom, 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 boom like this. You know what I mean? But like you're doing it all right now.
I'm just like, I'm multitasking. I'm just like, okay, I'm pressing here this button, and I'm like, okay, my brain with the ADHD, this is like, we're good.
So what drove you to want to start the podcast?
So kind of my journey is like really weird. So first off, I'm German, so that's why the accent. And I thought my whole life dad is dead, and I'm like, okay, called me, he's my father, he's alive, he lives in America. I'm like, let's take a vacation, you know. Then I moved to America, and I'm like, I want to be self-employed, you know. And I'm like all hustle mindset, like to 100%, you know. And I'm just like Reddit, learning anything and everything, self-help books, everything, you know. Started a couple things, and in the beginning, I kind of started like filming myself, you know, with a smartphone, the Galaxy S8 or whatever, you know. Went through vlogging to YouTube, made my first $100 through my YouTube channel because I grew it to a certain amount, and I'm like, now everything changed, but I learned a lot because I obsess, you know. And then like one of my buddies, Temper's Life, he reached out like, I want to make a podcast, you know. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can help you set that up, because I did live streaming for you now, and a couple YouTube channels and Twitch and whatever. So I experimented a lot with video, and I know basically nearly anything and everything. Like I can make 360 video right now. I did animations with Blender. Like I'm a really hardcore nerd who does not care about the public perception, what is really bad. So I don't put out portfolio pieces. I just do things and then move on. And if I need to do it, I can do it, but I cannot show pretty things because I just casually do them.
So you're the type that just goes all in on something when you're really interested in
basically.
So how long you been doing video though? Like
over 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
so I basically
it seems like that.
it seems like that.
Right.
Yeah. But there's been some plenty failures and like learning experience and whatever. So it's like
Yeah. No. Well, so what's been like your biggest lesson or biggest failure that you've learned from?
The biggest failure. Don't trust anybody, especially the DJ.
Really, especially the DJ. Okay.
Been on a wedding,
Yeah.
Since I learned my lesson with audio is important, this is a lesson by itself, but let's not talk about that. But I'm like, okay, I have my backup audio, I got everything set up, and I'm like talking to the DJ. I'm like, hey, I like your setup, doing the small talk, handshake, connecting, business cards, the whole 9 yards, Yeah. And I'm like, hey, can I plug my stuff into you and see, that I get the audio and everything? Yeah. And he's like, no problem.
Oh man. Yeah.
All the speeches did not even go over him.
No way.
And I'm just like, okay, post-production editing for 2 weeks, just like fixing audio. Thank God I had like wind muff mics, in the area, and I got the audio to a good degree. Like,
yeah.
But like,
did you use the shotgun mic?
Yeah, shotgun mics, and like because they were kind of close to the speaker, I could save it. But if I would have been a beginner, I would have been fried.
Oh yeah.
Just because I get it directly from the source. But the DJ was separate than the venue, So the venue had their own speaker system. Nobody told me. Yeah, I'm just like, oh yeah, talk to the DJ. No problem, I did.
But some DJ, I've noticed that some don't know exactly like how to do it.
You never know when you talk to somebody where they're at their journey. It could be the beginner. It could be like, oh, I did that 3 times and I kind of know now. But
yeah, that's why it's always good like to have and like I've noticed like when people do interviews too, they have like the lav mics just in case. That's like just plugged in and then somebody's listening in with the headphones.
Yeah, my favorite is the F2. It's a 32-bit microphone. You can recover anything and everything. It's $160. It's not like the fancy. I have like I have the DJI, I have the Rode, and I have the Ceremonic. But the F2, it's like my go-to. In case something gets fucked up, you can just recover it. It's all fine.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah,
so it's raw audio, basically. Like, if it's clipping and they're screaming into the microphone, you just dial it down. So there's no volume regulators on there. You just set record and you're good.
So are you like really like proficient in like Adobe? I don't know if you use Premiere Pro, like Adobe Audition and all that,
know
like
all
audio. Yeah,
so I know. In the beginning, because I'm self-taught, I kind of started out off the Windows Movie Maker.
I mean, I think everybody does.
Yeah,
right?
film more. Then like, okay,
that,
I need like a professional editing software, and DaVinci Resolve free. And now DaVinci Resolve, everybody's like swearing by it. You gotta start again because like it's free, it has all the tools, and I learned DaVinci Resolve like 4 years ago or whatever, and then I got out of it and I'm like, oh, let's jump to Premiere Pro. I'm jumping around, learning from everything a little bit. And now everybody's like, DaVinci Resolve because of the new update. And I'm like, fuck all that, CapCut.
Yo, CapCut has so many features on there that makes life so much easy. I mean, I don't use CapCut. I've used it a couple times.
Have you tried though? There's like AI features that none of the big editing softwares have. Like obviously, if you need to fix shit, like they are still better. But if you want to have just like a banger video, CapCut got some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, like those like transitions that zoom in and all that, like the spinning stuff and everything like that.
Yeah, and the templates, like there's AI tracing. You don't have to trace or mask. That AI does it, and like the other ones don't have that. And I'm like, what? The phone app has it. The expensive $300.
Oh, you can mask on there.
It makes it for you.
Wow.
You don't have to mask.
Wow.
AI masks for you. And there's
but how well is it done though? It's done
banger.
really well. It's banger. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the hell? You know what I mean?
Interesting. I haven't tried those features on CapCut, just because like I feel like for me, I'm just so particular with the way, like when I do highlight videos and like that, I'm like, okay, like I want to have this clip in there, or no, I want to take this part out because he leaned like this, or like I'm just so particular with it. Sometimes
that is a good part. Now, how you edit? What's your workflow? Like how lead us through. How efficient are you? Because I see a lot of volume, and that's like hard to do, but you produce it. So what's your workflow?
Yeah, so usually, I mean, it depends on the video, but so I'll do like, let's say like for a wedding video, right? Yeah. So first and foremost, I try to organize the footage before I even put it into Premiere. And it's like, it sounds like so like duh, right? Like obvious, but when you get lost in like that amount of footage, as you know, you'll spend hours and hours just even locating footage, not even editing, just locating. And, you know, that's already a big pain right there. So okay,
client does not know that,
and they don't.
they don't care. They're like, yeah, well, you didn't put that moment in, so if you didn't watch all the shit that you filmed, it's like, oh, there was that one moment that they want that is so important. And
yeah, so it's like drone footage in one folder, then ceremony in one folder, reception in one folder, and then from there it's like, okay. But before that, I mean, I don't know how you do it, but like I try to really just tell the story and just try to pick the song maybe in advance. If not, I'll pick it during the wedding, depending on what they played. Yeah, you know, and then okay, it's like, okay, I put it into Premiere Pro. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I started with Final Cut, but then like Adobe has the whole Creative Cloud, so I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna use that. You know, it makes more sense. And then I just put it in there, and then I just sometimes, I know this sounds crazy. I know some people do that, and some people don't do it this way, but I sometimes put it all on the timeline just to see like, okay, like
what's banging.
Yeah, like, and I just kind of do like a little skim through, like, okay, that's good, that looks good. Like, oh, the lighting here sucks. Oh, like this was blurry. Okay, take that out, take that out. But sometimes I just open the assembly and I just double click it and it just pops up there on like the secondary screen. Yeah. And then like, okay. And then something I learned recently was like, you know what? Just take the first 5 seconds of each video, the best 5 seconds. Yeah. And just trim that and just use that. Yeah. You know?
That is so I think like some people don't know that moment what you're talking about, because there's a moment where you have a video and you don't know what to do with it, you know. Nothing flows and you're just like, fuck, I don't know how to put that together so it makes sense, so it has like good momentum and a good flow. And that technique that you mentioned is really powerful. Like, let's say, okay, I have a bunch of pretty clips, and in the beginning, you know, when you just want to select what you want to edit for, you have to be specific. But if you do your technique, that gives you new opportunity, because now I see how that could work together, versus like, oh, I want this, but I don't know what I have to put in. So there's a couple techniques like that.
And part of the editing process is not really just going into Premiere or whatever editing software. Like, it's really just planning out, okay, and that's why storyboarding comes in. Like, okay, I want to get a drone shot of the facility first. Boom, I need to make sure I get that drone shot. So then you know how you're starting the video. And even if you want, and like, again, this can be like too much pre-work, but I guess like too much pre-work isn't bad. Yeah,
there's not such a thing. Too much. Like either none or not enough.
Like picking the right font to use. People don't think about that, but when you see your videos, there's a certain font that just sticks out the most, right? And like, are you gonna use a drop shadow on there? How much drop shadow are you gonna use?
Comic Sans, drop shadow, we're good.
Right, exactly. Or it's like, oh, just put a title on there. It's like, no, there's thousands, maybe millions of fonts out there, right? So you got to make sure that like, okay, like this fits with the tone, but like that font needs to also fit in with like the instrumental that you're putting in, or like the song that you're putting in, the moment and everything like that.
Yeah, there's I have like on that, I'm like basically like also in that boat where I'm like, okay, I sit in front of the edit, I got all the footage, I watched everything, I don't know how to put it together, and I'm just like, I have like a couple techniques how to solve the problem. I call it the pancake edit. It's like, I think, an official term or whatever. So you do like the 5 second thing you talk, you put it in a sequence above the one, and then you just drag everything down into another sequence in order, and you just drag down, and then you can like arrange it, and then it's like, oh, this is nice to just like get different versions. So or I just completely switch the song up and see, oh, how would that flow if I try to make that song work? And there's like so many ways how to do it. But it's like, you need to be also like a good designer, you know, like in a way where it's like, I like this font, and you have to have good style, and if you don't have good style, then you basically fall apart because you choose a font that's not fitting or a song that's not fitting.
Yeah, the most important thing is the song, because like if the song doesn't grab you in a wedding video, per se, like that's the type of video that we're talking about here, then you're not going to be emotionally connected to like what they're actually saying in the vowels, if you decide to put the vowels in there, you know. And like, I think the music there is important. Now when it comes to like other types of videos, then like, okay, maybe the music isn't important, you don't add music, the type of font is. Like if you send a documentary, right? You don't want to use outrageous font for a documentary. Like, it's just like ugly, and especially for the lighting too. Then we talk about lighting. You know, there's lighting techniques that you got to use. Like this lighting right here is amazing.
This is just like a little bit extra, you know, like a little bit Shazam. You know, get something in the classes going.
I like how it adds the blue tint. The blue tint to me right here on the right side. Like that's that's awesome. You know,
Yeah.
it just adds flavor to it. Like, are you gonna add flavor to the video? Like, it's we could talk about this all day.
Yeah, I mean, like, so this podcast in particular, I'm not gonna lie, is more about like creating before consuming, and that's more like, you know, we all can scroll on the phone, you know, and you scroll, and you don't do anything. You feel guilty that you didn't do anything productive, you know, or like, you know, how you get motivated. So that's like one of the things, like, what motivates you?
So I think the biggest thing that motivates me is just the thought of, you know, like letting my family and the close ones down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I think about it, like they're rooting for me. They're big supporters of me. I'm big supporters of them. Like the people who I'm very close with, you know, that I talk to, they know how much love I got for them, you know, and vice versa. And I always think to myself that I want to set a good example for them. You know, they're rooting for me. Yeah, I don't want to make it. If I don't do my job, or if I'm not doing what I said I was gonna do, I'm not only letting myself down, I'm letting them down. You know, and some people are like, oh, who cares about what other people think? But I'm like, I care about what my close people think. Yeah. Because I'm always talking to them. I'm always communicating with them. Yeah. And I feel like when people say, oh, who cares what people think, they care about the thoughts of people more than others, you know. You know what I mean?
Like humans are like, okay, he you know, like they dress a certain way just to not be ripped apart.
It's I'll say it's just a complete. That's the biggest lie that I heard. Like, oh, like I don't care what people think, or I don't care what you say. It's like, no, you do care.
Yeah, everybody cares, but it's just like, you know, to a certain degree, how much work you want to put in, because like, you know, there's levels to it. That's how I see it, you know. And like there's like people who are like, okay, I gotta, you know, fake it till I make it, you know, and that's where I'm like, you know, or I need a big car, I need the stacks of money.
Eventually that just catches up to you, and you get exposed. There's so many people that's happened to. Like, people rent these Lamborghinis all the time.
Yeah, and they're just. I mean,
you see, do you shoot music videos at all?
I did some, but it's usually the people are kind of broke.
So that's the thing about the industry too. Like,
you know, the more flex, gun. You know, the more like,
so they'll
$300.
They'll borrow their parents' gun, or they'll go and rent a Lamborghini or a Ferrari because they want to portray that image of, oh, I'm rich, I'm doing this. And they got like these like gold chains on them, but it's not real gold. You know, it's gold plated stuff and everything like that. But yeah, I feel like that just catches up to you eventually. Yeah. For me, and it's just you put too much pressure on yourself doing that anyways.
Yeah. So here's my my view on that, because like I'm completely the opposite. I don't like sports cars. Like I don't like the flex game. So it's really weird. So I need to do the flex so I can convert clients easier. You know, right? And I'm just experimenting. You know, I don't care how the quality is when I upload it. I just want to see what happens if I post, and I want to have fun. Right. I'm too much on that side. Now I'm like, okay, gotta wear the shirt, you know, so it looks like I'm like carrying more, and I'm just like, oh, I need to get onto a middle ground, you know. I need to get my flex game up, and I'm like, I don't know how important it is, you know, because like public perception matters a lot too.
It does, especially nowadays that we have social media. So I was born and raised in Miami, so Miami is the city that is all about the status. Yeah. Right? And like, if you don't have this, then that's how people look at you a certain way. They judge you and everything like that. I think moving out of Miami has been one of the best decisions that I've ever made, because it changed my perception of like who I really am and what I really value in my life. Yeah. You know, because now it's like you try to impress so many people that don't care about you. Yeah. Right? And then you're trying to portray this image on social media and everything like that. I mean, I'm the type of dude that you're like you said, I'm the type of guy now that I would have showed up probably with like a white t-shirt, sweatpants, and everything like that. Just because like if I'm not shooting, I'm working from home. I'm editing, I'm managing the team and everything like that. So I don't really go out and just buy stuff like that, right? And I drive my Corolla. You know, like my Corolla's been paid off.
Well, you
for
at
years.
least have a car.
I mean,
I ride an e-bike.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I should probably trade in my Corolla and get a bike.
Yeah, well, on the one side, you know, like me and my wife sharing a car. So it's like, I could get a car, but I don't want to because I don't care. It's literally, I don't care. And we share a car. In America, there's so many like opinions like, oh no, everybody needs a car, everybody needs to have a car loan, I'm like, well, I have no car loan, so I can blow my money otherwise.
I mean, they value the moment that you open that door and that new car that you buy, it just, the price just goes down, depreciates. So I always saw it like that. even and it's funny because like my family always called me cheap, and like I was always known as like that cheap guy. You know, like I never really like to spend money. Like I've had money, like I could support myself and everything like that. But you know, I think just coming from my background, like what me and my family went through when I was younger, it scared me to blow that money away on something useless and then just, you know, be broke and everything. So that's why I was like, nah, like I want to change that dynamic for myself and my family. And I think that's one of my biggest motivators too, you know, like that family dynamic. Like, nah, I'm not going back there. I'm not going back to those times. So I got to make sure I do this. Right.
Because everybody has like different motivators. Like, and it's really hard sometimes to find the right motivation in like tough times, like AI, COVID, whatever. You know, it's just like with those times, it's like so hard to do the thing. But it's like if you have like your cornerstone, you're fine. You know, but having motivation and putting in the action is another part. So you put in a lot of action, like with the reels, and you went to like WealthCon or what is it?
Yeah, WealthCon. It was a like real estate content creation event hosted by Ryan Pineda, and he had other guest speakers there, and they were just talking about like the importance of real estate content creation. I knew there was going to be a lot of people there that I could connect with nationwide, because I'm trying to be more nationwide now. You know,
that's the spirit. So yeah, that brings us to a good topic. What are the goals? Like apparently nationwide. I'm a storyteller nationwide.
I think the goal for me right now is making sure I step out my comfort zone as much as I can. And I think it's easier said than done. You could tell somebody, oh, step out your comfort zone, but they don't know how to step out their comfort zone. I think
you went to somebody else's house right now, did a podcast. I know. I'm like, this is like the prime example.
Exactly. And even for me, that I shoot video and I direct, I don't really like being in front of the camera like that. A lot of people don't know that, but I do not like being in front of the camera like that. I feel the same way that a lot of people feel, that I'm just like, damn, like how do I look, or how do I sound? Like, does my voice sound like this? Like, for real? Do I really sound like this, Fitz? Like I'm like,
well, actually, voice changer, I got you.
Like, yeah, so I always have those like hesitations and everything, but I think, you know, the way I developed like stepping out of my comfort zone was really surrounding myself with people who are doing that, who are challenging me, who are like, I never want to be the smartest guy in the room ever. You know, like I have a couple mentors. Like I always try to seek mentorship. Just because I'm like, and I feel like from my past too, like I was very like prideful, I guess, in a lot of things, and I saw a lot of things go down when I was very prideful. So I'm like, how can I block that pride out? How can I wash that pride away? I gotta be able to open my mind up, you know?
So that is like one of the things, like if you have nothing, you take a lot of pride in whatever you have. And if you have nothing, it's usually like the literally basics, like, oh, I'm proud of like being from this country. I'm like, there's other people from different countries that, you know, worth something too, you know? So that's like the thing, like the more you know, the less pride you are in a weird way. But it's also like powerful to have pride, because that makes you move for something, you know? So it's a balance. Yeah,
sometimes you just gotta like also put yourself in the position where like, you know, like, or you gotta really be grateful for the hard times that come to you. You know, and that's where like I don't want to get religious or anything, but like having that faith. Like, hey, listen, like if I've been through this, if you understand that you've been through something, the next thing you're gonna go through is like, okay, it's gonna be a bad time, but I know it's gonna end eventually. You know, so I can't stay thinking about it all the time. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier with like
AI or whatever.
Like if you think about that so much, you know,
you don't do shit.
You don't do anything. You don't try to innovate. You don't try to connect with other people who are like who you need to connect with. And that's it. You just curl up in a ball. And even for me right now, man, like I think like the biggest thing that I've learned like from like video production and everything, and even not even that, just like in life, is that you never know like everything. You never know everything. So there's always something to learn. And that's why I flew across the country to LA to go to this event. Because I'm like, you know, I don't know anybody that's going to go to the event, but I met some great people. I met some wonderful people. I made some great connections out there.
So what is then the next big event you're looking forward to? Do you have like a schedule, like, okay, once a year I go to one networking thing, or I just see by year? What's your networking, or not networking, but networking?
But event? Like my next like big getting out my comfort zone type of thing. I think... man, I think okay, so this has nothing to do with going to networking, but I think being just able to like no, let me put it this way, like more willing to spend money on things that are going to drive me value.
Like education-wise, kind of.
Like investing more into myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not being afraid of that. And I think the monetary aspect, I've always been like, okay, I collect my money. I work hard to collect my money.
Yeah.
And I spend it on my necessities and whatever I want to spend it on.
Yeah.
But now it's like investing more.
Yeah.
Like putting that more into action. That's like the biggest thing for me right now.
Yeah, that's powerful, because like it's a weird thing. Like when you the first time you learn to hire, obviously as a videographer you get hired, but you never really think like I should hire somebody, and like and even if you're the guy hiring, there's a guy managing the person who's hiring.
Yeah,
it's like so you step like one step up, and you first get comfortable in this area, and like let's go to this area, and I'm like, it's powerful to get uncomfortable and learn things, because it's just like there's an income that grows with that,
Yeah, so I it's funny because the other day I went to Barnes and Noble because I was like, you know what, I need to start reading again.
Yeah.
And I was going through the business section and I couldn't find a book to pick up.
Yeah.
So I saw something from Grant Cardone, because I've been watching Grant Cardone's content for years now. So it was a book. His book was called Sell or Be Sold.
Sell or Be Sold. I heard about that one.
So I opened the book, right?
Yeah.
Like to a random page. And the first sentence I read says, I would never hire somebody who doesn't like to spend money, because if they don't like to spend money, they'll be too scared to make somebody want to buy.
Yeah.
When I read that sentence, not only did I buy that book, but I went to go buy more equipment that I feel like was going to give me value to what I'm doing right now with video. It changed me completely.
That's what's up. I love like when you have a book and you get a golden nugget. That's one of those golden nuggets.
And it was a random page.
Yeah.
So like how, like I think that was just like a message from the universe saying like, you need to follow this exact sentence right here and just start investing more.
Unless it's on every page standing at the top,
Right. That's where it gets annoying. Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's like a couple of cheat codes for American society. You can get a library card for your area. Then you can get Hoopla, and with Hoopla, you basically can get free audiobooks. And you just go sign up and you listen to free audiobooks, and you get like all the big books. It's powerful. In 4 or 8 hours, you finish a book. It's crazy.
Oh man, I gotta look into that, because I use Audible. It's funny because I took out the membership. I was like, I don't feel like spending this money now, but I'm just like whatever. I'm probably gonna
you sign up library. Library card, and you're good to go. And go Hoopla, and then you get all the audiobooks.
What's your biggest motivation?
Like I don't even know. Like I think money in a weird way and working makes me happy. Like I want to prove something in a weird way. But also like I believe in myself, so I don't want to prove something, and that is like the constant fight. So because I believe in myself, I don't care about proving to other people that I can do it. Obviously that will hurt me, because if I don't put the portfolio piece up and show somebody else like I did this and I can't do that, then it doesn't lead to that. But I still think and can do, and did it once or twice, so it's like no,
so I get
like,
that. I feel like I get that same feeling sometimes too.
Yeah, we're all like kind of struggling with like our own demons, and I'm a little bit too much in my head, but I'm like always like trying to learn and get better. That's just like my hobby. Like
we live way too much in our heads.
Yeah,
like why? Like why? How can we avoid that?
I can predict the future.
It's like, oh my god, if I don't do this, I don't do that. Like I want to be less like what I just want to be able to like act fast on it. Sometimes like it's bad to act fast on decisions. Like sometimes you got to think about it. Yeah. But I feel like I've done way too much thinking already. I'm like, that's why I'm just like, if I need it, I need it.
Yeah, and there's seasons to it, and I'm like, my lesson was like, I had a season where it's like find your why. Like I watched like a TED Talk or whatever it was, and the TED Talk was about, I think it was Mark Simmons or whatever. He wrote a book and he speaks about you need to know your why, and I'm like, damn, I don't have a why. And I'm like trying to figure like, then the why that I found is like, this is not important enough for me, or this is I don't care enough. So like you said, family, my family is a little bit more complicated, to say the least. I grew up like without a father, then I met my father, and life is crazy. And I'm just like, I'm very independent, what is good and bad at the same time, and I'm just like, so I can't use that as a driving factor, but I like to prove that I can do stuff.
Yeah. I think so too. Like just challenging myself and like really pushing myself to those limits of like, okay, like how much can I take? That's why sometimes I put this videos up a couple of times. Like I should probably make content on this, but sometimes I go into the sauna with a hoodie.
How long can I stay in there?
How long can I stay in there?
That's me too.
Yeah, I'm like,
I love sauna.
Like how can I push myself to really until like I can't no more, right? And that's why I feel like I learned that a lot from David Goggins.
Oh, the G. Like, I'm vibing on that level 100%. Like, I'm like, when you think like you do a lot, and then you watch Goggins, you do nothing.
You're doing absolutely nothing. I feel like like he's just like, why? He's like, why are you drinking water during this podcast? Why are you drinking coffee? Or like that. He'll just come.
Don't have enough energy. You gotta walk.
right. He's crazy, but I mean, honestly, I feel like when it comes to motivation factor, I feel like he's more like a social media figure that helped me understand. And I read his book too. His book is like amazing, really, really deep. Yeah. Like his childhood, like growing up in Buffalo, and like what his dad, like going through what his dad put them through, and everything like that. Spending the time in Indiana and like dealing with people out there, like that's a lot to go through, as somebody who had his situation and everything like that. So I'm just like, it helps you put into perspective like what you're going through too. Everybody got a deep story.
Everybody has like their life is the worst, and it's like to a certain degree yes, and to a certain degree no, because like even if you're a millionaire, you think like you're suffering, it's like whatever pain they experience, they think it's the worst pain ever. It's like you cannot comprehend somebody else's pain and put, but you should practice at least comparing.
We're in competition for the wrong reason. We're in competition of seeing whose pain is worse, mine or yours. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whose pain was worse. Because everybody got certain pain.
Exactly.
Everybody, even, like you said, even millionaires have pain.
Yeah.
So I think I spend so much time, and that's why I said earlier, I'm like, I don't want to do any more thinking. I just want to just do now, because I let all that thinking of like those negative times and my pain is this and making excuses for myself kind of like deteriorate me, and it just held me back. And I'm like, I'm done. Sometimes you just wake up and you're like, I'm sick of being sad. I'm sick of being mad. I'm sick of being in the same place that I'm at. Like, I'm not above anybody. I'm not more superior than anybody. I'm not better than anybody. So I'm just like, I have my pains. I'll use that as my purpose and my motivation and just keep going through it.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Like, I think like that's like very powerful, like being like, okay, gotta use what you have, like everybody gets a hand of cards dealt, and everybody has to play their cards right, and it's like the hardest part probably, like to figure out where I'm good, what can I do, and how do you use that. And I think and I think that just comes with experimenting, trial and error. Like, not everything is going to be perfect the way that like you want it. Like, you can script things out, but there's always going to be other hurdles that you didn't even plan for. But like, you just got to go through it and figure it out, and then when you go through the next hurdle, because we're not done going through hurdles. It would be nice.
We're not done going through obstacles. I'm sorry to tell y'all, we're not done going through that, right? So like,
it's a journey. Yeah,
it's a journey, and like I said, like we live way too much in our minds, and I'm like, sometimes just put your foot down, like I'm done.
On that note, though, so with like thinking, there comes also some upside. So that's like a thing where I'm like really good with like SEO. Like, I can place videos on the first page of like YouTube on a search result, and then I get like basically free bikes or gear or whatever, Nice. So it's very powerful, but that comes from thinking. And there's like always like the balance, like how much thinking and how much strategizing. So you have like a strategizing theme or like a period or something like that, where you're like, okay, now I have to reevaluate everything, and now I have to stop strategizing, or is just doing.
I think the biggest thing is doing is definitely the most important part, because if you don't do, you'll never collect the data to see like, what people like. But I try to understand like what is the actual issue in like whatever you're trying to attract. Is it more clientele? Are you trying to attract more attention? Like, it's different. It's a different structure for everybody. So before I go and like, okay, we should just do this or just shoot this video or do whatever, like I always try to push it, like, let's get on a call and see what you need, because I can make a great highlight video. I know you can make a great highlight video. Us videographers, we're great at creative stuff, but I want to help you resolve your issue, because
the pain point.
Exactly, because the pain point is everything. It's everything, but how do you attack that pain point? How do you make that to be like very monetary for the person that you're trying to attract and for yourself as well? Because if it's just for yourself, your business is gonna die quick. You'll get exposed. You know, so like you got to make sure that, okay, hold on, like if you're gonna get paid for it, you better be giving value,
provide something,
something, right? So that all comes with like a nice strategy in place, and then from there we go about like structure and everything, and then you fall into ads and SEO, and like it's a whole layer on layer on layer.
Yeah, and there's like so many things to learn, and it's like crazy. So what you struggling with right now? Like you put out like a ton of content. It seems like you're doing really, really well with that. Like you have like plenty of clients like doing the reels for, it seems. And then there's like doing the podcast now. So what is your growth hindrance? You know, like what is your bottleneck at the moment?
I think
if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. So I think for me, the biggest thing that I'm struggling with is seeing or like trying to figure out what I need to do next. Yeah. Right. If I'm staying still, I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, like I need to be doing something.
Keep on running.
I need to be checking up on him or on her, or I need to be like keep prospecting or like innovate something in the editing process for my team.
Yeah.
You know, or create some PDFs. Like, but what comes first? I think I'm like to the point where like I have a lot of stuff to do, right? But organizing what needs to come, prioritizing that, I think is my biggest thing. Yeah, exactly. Because like getting work and everything, like I'm busy right now, but it's like, so far I feel like it's going well because like no one is complaining or anything like that. But for myself, I gotta live internally with my thoughts. And like, damn, am I doing what I'm supposed to do to benefit not only myself but for the people that, you know, I'm impacting and helping grow, you know?
Yeah. And then I always like to say, like, there's winter coming, you know? you may be eating right now. Right now it's kind of great, but it's like, is this winter now? You don't know because it maybe gets colder, you know? And it's like, you're not through. So it's like, it's always good to have, like, bonus clients.
Right. Exactly. So, like, that's why someone like Grant Cardone's like, you always got to have a full pipeline because you just never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Never. You know, you don't want to be completely satisfied with your like so egotistical and everything. Like
I don't need this gig.
Yeah, I don't need this gig. I got this one, but you don't know when that gig's gonna end. Yeah, you know, and it's like that's where it comes to like remaining humble. And I feel like, am I the most humble person? I'm not gonna say I'm the most humble person, but I'm definitely not. I don't portray myself as cocky because I feel like I've been through. That's where like going through the pain and like whatever you went through. Like instead of just trying to like hold that back, you just gotta put it into yourself and be like, you know, I'm gonna make sure it doesn't get to my head too much. You know, if I have some success, right? Exactly. So then, when you always think about like what can go wrong, and if it does go wrong, it's not as bad as you think it is, because it's never as bad as we think it is. Whenever shit does hit the fan,
it's always relative, always, and that's like the big part, you know. And I'm just like, right now, my biggest growing pain is like I need more clients. You know, I have like 1-2 retainer clients that pay me monthly, and it's like it's great doing the reels, doing like the follow me around stuff. You know, I'm like need more of that, or anything. You know, but every once in a while I get like, oh yeah, can you shoot this wedding? But it's like not 100% controllable. Like being able to run ads and getting controlled results. That is the thing where I'm struggling the most with it. You know?
Yeah. I think the control results too is also a big thing, because like just like every creator I feel like that I know, there's some months that are just terrible months. Like I've had
no work going on here.
I've had several of those terrible months, and then I've had several really great months. You know, and that's why it's like you can't let it get to your head that success, like, you know, I'm doing this and all that, because you just never know when it's gonna end. But like that's where it comes to like delivering value to somebody and everything. I mean, but even right now, what do you have, bro? Like a lot of people, man, would love this stuff, man. And
they should also then pay for this stuff. Subscribe.
Look at this setup, man. I wish, you know, people could actually see. I know the cameras are pointing to us, but like this setup is freaking amazing, dude. Like you have.
I like the compliments. We need it.
No, you have your branding and everything. Like you have the couch setup. Like you have such a comfortable experience in here. So I'm like,
you want to hear like a really weird truth about the couch?
Yes, I want to hear this.
So me and my wife, we're always going on 2 walks through the neighborhood, you know? And the neighborhood is like, it's a middle class, whatever-ish neighborhood, you know? So we walk like for 5 minutes, for 20 minutes this way, then 5 there, and then 20 back, it's like going in a circle. One of the new built houses, they threw that couch away. That couch is perfect.
I mean, it looks really good.
It was covered. It had like a cover over it, so it was just fresh and done. And I'm like, I cleaned it and checked and sprayed it and did everything. This thing slaps.
That's the type
it's
of
like new.
That's the type of stuff that I would literally do. Yeah. Like I did all the time. Like I needed a computer chair and I was driving one day. I saw one on the side of the road. I'm like, I'm picking that up. I cleaned it up and that's it. I was using that for years, and I'm just like, it is what it is. No one's gonna look at, what type of chair is he using?
So some things that make sense to be like, you need the new and whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's like things where it's like, oh, you go in a rich neighborhood, or they just don't like the color and they throw it away. Like one of my real estate clients or like interior designers, they're like, oh yeah, we don't like those lamps. Who wants those lamps? And I'm like, those lamps cost thousands of dollars. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
and they're just like, they put them in an elevator, or bringing it down. Like, yeah, nobody wants them. I guess we're bringing them back, and I'm just
because they don't know the value.
It's crazy. They put them in there, so they're charging the client, and they don't want it. They also don't want to deal with it. And I'm like, how does that work?
So how does it come with like for you, like when you're like delegating stuff? Like, is it
that is like my weak point? Like, if I have, let's say. How do you phrase that the right way? So I have a couple ways to make money, like the one thing is like doing like lens stands. Like you put your lens you see in the shelf there.
Yeah.
This is my product. That's what I'm flipping.
Okay.
And I'll make that and sell it. And then I have like, I rent gear. Then I have like, right now I also get into like logo making and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So back there is like a 3D printed logo. So there's a couple ways how I make money besides like client work and like YouTube reviews, getting gear and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I sustain myself right now. But
dude, this is awesome.
So I do everything in a little bit of, like I need to delegate, but I don't delegate because I do everything and too much. So it seems like my output is kind of good in comparison to other people. Like they maybe have a podcast, but they don't cut reels, But that's only because I do the podcast like this, If I would have to edit it, I would not make reels. It's like I need to delegate more, and I'm struggling with that. And my growing pains is like need more clients so I can pay people.
Right.
So that's where I'm at.
I think because
where you at?
I mean, I feel like I'm always looking for clients, dude.
Yeah.
But I also too, and this is what I love about the industry that we're in. I feel like there's still not enough videographers out there. I feel like for the amount of people that need video, I feel like we still need more videographers. And that's why I'm just kind of like, I don't mind like collabing with other videographers and everything like that because...
Yeah, it's a win-win. Like you never know when you need a second shooter. Like with the wedding where I'm like going on Sunday, it's like, okay, I need somebody who's shooting the bride or groom because it's different places. I'm like, I already got somebody locked down, but I'm like, you always need somebody, and sometimes they don't have time, and then it's like, who do I ask? Who do I can trust? And it's like one of those things.
It's like the referral. I mean, everybody's like biggest driver, anyways, in business. Like not even video, but like referrals. Like I always try to like make sure like, and this is something that I've struggled with too, like following up with people I used to work with because. That's like a very, very strong. It's not only video, like that's where any industry like follow up with the people that you used to work with, because one, like they could forget about you, remind that you're still there to help solve their issue, whatever you help them with, right? And then like, oh, maybe they don't need that, but they know somebody else that needs it, and then boom, and then you keep doing that for other people.
It is such a weird thing. So I want to talk about that because you're good with like putting out the volume and. Social media is like, okay, everybody's posting. You don't think about the people who are not posting, like they pop up like maybe 2-3 months later, and like in the meantime you referred somebody else, and because you forgot about person who would have maybe fit that better or is a friend or whatever, but just because out of sight, out of mind. It's so powerful posting. It's like if you don't post, you get out, you buy from somebody else. Even though you don't really want to be mean to your buddy, but it's like you did not thought about your buddy just because it's so easy to reach out. Hey, can you do this? And you did not even thought about it. Yeah, that is like.
Yeah. I think people are just scared too. It's like, oh, they want to try a different way other than social media. But like, that's what I said like earlier, like adjusting to the times that we're in right now. Unfortunately, like I don't like being on social media like that. Like people are like, oh, you're always posting and everything, but I'm just like. Dude, like if I could hire like a social media manager, which I'm trying, like eventually that's like the goal, right? Eventually.
Yeah.
Right now, it's like, no, not yet.
Posting for other people, basically.
Yeah. Posting for other people, writing their captions and scheduling their posts and everything like that. Like, I would love to do that. Like, completely be hands off. Here you go. You handle that.
Oh, here you said something. You said scheduling the post. So here's me. I'm like, my biggest pep talk is like, you cannot schedule posts, because if you schedule posts, it looks like a bot was posting, and the algorithms don't like that. So that's what I'm thinking, you know. But I also get the point of like, it will probably perform the same way, I guess. I don't know. Ever had like negative experience with like scheduling a post, or what is your?
No. Honestly, like, I've never really been a fan of just scheduling the post, just because I like to be in control of like what I'm going to say, or like my thought process can change later on.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I'm gonna post this like this.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh no, wait, I'm gonna, change this video like this, or like I'm gonna post this later or something like that. And I think right now, like, there's a certain like, theme that I'm trying to go with or transition to. So like, I want to be more in control of that, and then like, once I know that process really well, then I'll start like, okay, I'll schedule that out. But I've never really had an issue with like the scheduling post or anything. But like, I could see your thought process.
So I'm not 100% sure if that's correct, but I think like the Ryan guy, when they said like, oh yeah, we have like 7 phones, and it's like, we're gonna post like, and it's like when we're in the club, and I'm like, if you could schedule it, you wouldn't do that. So that's why I'm assuming they do it that way without like, I don't have the confirmation. I'm just assuming, So that's why I'm like, it makes sense, and that's how I kind of want to treat it. Like, I just do everything organically, but it's painful.
It's painful, and like sometimes you just forget.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's like, okay, it's like, if your biggest thing right now is to be consistent, like, oh, I need to be more consistent, then just schedule it out for a week. Like right now on YouTube Shorts, I schedule out like for one of my clients like a month and a half worth of content.
They kind of work though, like with the scheduling. That's what I saw. Like YouTube Shorts, they work with that. But Instagram, I don't know. And because you need those weird apps,
Instagram is like the worst.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to that, dude. Like, I feel like I like YouTube Shorts better and like TikTok.
Yeah.
But Instagram, and it's not only me that says it too. It's like other people who are very active on social media. I think Ryan McGinnis says like Instagram is so like hit or miss with the content, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's a reel that will go off that you didn't expect, like, really on Instagram. You're just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So here's another thing. Like, Ryan was like saying, he's not managing small accounts because like the results are not showing sometimes, So that's why he doesn't want to take on the small accounts. And I'm like, you put all that work into like, let's say you make the captions and you put like all the editing, whatever, and sometimes it does not get rewarded. And obviously I post on multiple platforms, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, blah, 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 Twitter and whatever, So the shorts with the subtitles sometimes don't perform as well as like regular creative content. And I don't know if it's just for me and my clients like that, and if I should focus on something else, or if it's just in general. So that is like a discovery that I made, when I do a cinematic video of like, let's say like some furniture and like cool stuff that looks like whoa, does sometimes better than like, oh yeah, personality and subtitles, even though went to the course and like subtitles, personality, storytelling, hook is better. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you can relate to that. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, it is a weird thing to think about. Like, even like I think about that too. I'm like, damn, like, why is this one doing good? Like, why should I be putting stuff out like this? But then like, it also comes down to like what like your brand is, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, even like myself, like I show like, what is the storyteller brand? What's the Fitz brand? Like, okay, we're great shooters, right? We know how to shoot great content. But why us? It's like, okay, we have a high demanding product, our marketing is there, and then boom, the sale comes. But like, a lot of people focus on the high demanding product and then sale, but they miss the middle part with the marketing and the branding. And that's like, that is the hardest part, because it's like, okay, like, why us? Like, yes, you do video, yes, you make great videos, but why you?
Yeah.
Like, and that's
there's plenty of people out there.
But like, when it's like, and it's not like, oh, why me? Oh, because I have this equipment, or I know how to edit, or all that. It's deeper than that, you know, and I think that's something that Ryan like talked about. Ryan McGinn, he talked about a lot, was like, it's like deeper than the actual like editing and all that. It's like the topics that they're talking about, the value that you're giving and everything,
relatability and whatever.
Yeah, and honestly, like, there's nothing wrong with them, and not saying that everybody needs to do like that type of content, because if you want to do just weddings, then like, great weddings, you know,
Yeah.
like the vows, like put a reel of the vows or something like that, or put a reel of like
Pop
the
an
actual,
animation of the text like, I said yes.
exactly, she said yes or something like that, and then like your content is just straight like she said yes, like, oh, you know, always when I go to Fitz's page, it's always gonna pop up like this. I know Fitz for this style, you know. And yeah, I think like over time, like we overthink what we want to post as our brand. Like, oh, that's the wrong way to post, but it's not the wrong way.
Yeah,
you know, you just test. At the end of the day, it's always marketing is always like a test. Run, you know, so it's trial run.
Yeah,
so like
true that.
you're saying like, okay, cool, people like me more when I'm more like let's say more raw, like on my phone. Like I have a friend of mine, like he built his brand just through his phone.
That is
and
also like a thing. Like I'm experimenting currently with smartphones and CapCut because like saw so many people like, you know, getting lost in the sauce with you need this gear, you need that, and you know, then you don't even get like the virality as somebody who's like, oh, here on my iPhone, you know.
Yeah, I think it just depends too, because like his thing, he records on an iPhone, but his is more like, okay, and he has like a Black Magic, you know, like he has a nice camera and everything, but like his content is like a lot with his daughter in the studio.
Gotcha.
So like people notice, like he noticed the trend, like, okay, I'm getting a lot of traction whenever I have my daughter, like, going over some equipment or anything like that, and then he makes it animated.
Gotcha.
So it's like from there, it's like, okay, people know me as like, okay, I got my daughter, like I do studio work and everything, and we do funny big videos. Yeah. Like, and that's the brand, you know, like, okay, it works. But like he was telling me, he's like, yeah, like honestly, I just tried it one day. Like I was just like recording myself or whatever, and like I said, it's funny because it's like, dude, you have a camera. Like he shoots video.
Well, you choose a shitty camera.
Yeah. And he shoots it with that, and he's like, yeah, bro, because I feel like that's just
more
work for
label.
me the most, you know. But like it doesn't mean that whenever he goes to do a shoot or like does audio, he's gonna use bad technology. No, he's just like promoting himself.
That's where it also shows, you know. There's like let's talk like real estate agents, you know. They can get away with the iPhone and they can do a good job. They throw that thing on a gimbal, shoot the whole thing, but if the audio is slacking, that's where it's falling apart, you know. And then you need the wireless mics, you need the whatever.
Real estate is such an interesting.
It's iffy. It's
just that like that industry is just so. I'm not gonna say anything bad about real estate agents, but I think a lot of them. I'll just put it out like this: a lot of them are very frugal, cheap.
Very cheap. I can't tell you why, because sometimes they're just bartenders.
They remind me a lot of music artists. Like, you know, a lot of music artists, they portray this image that they want to be like this. Like flashy and everything. Same thing with real estate. They'll pull up with a rental of a Benz, you know, and just be like, hey, you know, I sell houses, you know, I'm wearing a suit and anything like that. But how many people are doing that? You know, like it's played out. You know what I'm saying? And like that's where again the branding and the strategy come in. Like why? Okay, you're a real estate agent, but what makes you different? Like what value are you giving to the client? Like why is somebody connected to you? Yeah, you know, and it's very like easy to say. But with like the right strategy in mind, like with the right person to work with, you start to differentiate yourself. Like, okay, I don't just buy and sell houses, but I do this. Yeah. Or like, I buy and sell houses, but you know me for a different reason. Yeah. You know, and like, how can you tie that together? That's where the planning and the marketing comes in. Because like for real estate, it's tough. Like they want to cheap out on the marketing, but then
they don't get
clients because like the marketing is like the same thing as always. Is like the marketing for real estate agents is this: I have a listing, or come by and sell your property here. And it's like the same BS.
Yeah,
it's the same
and you
thing.
need to connect with the real estate agents, because if you have a real estate agent that you don't like, man, it will be painful to watch those houses. They just the showings get like a bad taste, and it's like you wanna sort out who you like and who you don't like in the beginning, you know. So it's like, oh, everything is vibing. They don't want to mistreat you and just sell you a house. No, they want to sell you the right house.
I think with a real estate agent too, because real estate agents get like a lot of, I guess, bad talk, like car salesmen. Yeah. I think the goal.
They're the worst.
Yeah, they are. No, definitely. I think for them it's like you want to make sure that whoever comes to you already feels connected to you, so they already know how your style of working is. So when they go, they're like, okay, just show me the house and run the numbers for me, and that's really about it. That's where like the sale comes easy, because you marketed yourself so well. You know, and it's deeper than just saying, come buy this or just list
solves
it.
all your problems.
And I'm just like, here we go. It's the same BS. And again, like we talked about earlier, like having people directly sell to you is just like, it's annoying. It makes me not want to buy.
Yeah, it's like, when you want to look, you're interested. Oh, let's take a closer look at some cars that, for example, I want. You walk into the dealership, you walk onto the damn place.
Yeah.
There's probably somebody's like spying on you. I'm gonna go out there, greet this guy, and then I give him the handshake, and then I gonna sell him the whole 9 yards. I'm gonna figure it out before the other guy does it. And it's just like a fucking seagulls like
Yeah. They just come like completely like run out the door and try to like tackle you.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's like the same thing with like the wrong marketing strategy. You're trying to go and just try to tackle somebody. Just let them go. Let them open your arms. Like let yourself be free. Welcome them into your life. Don't just go and try to like completely try to hit stick them.
Yeah. That is like the thing where they would maybe benefit actually more than real estate agents, but they are like so behind the times as a car salesman. If they would do like video content and they're just like, just doing the same thing as a real estate agent, they would kill the game, but they don't. And everybody right now is like in deep trouble with the car loans because like the whole market is collapsing because of them, because they're just like too aggressive. The loans are like $500 for 30 years, whatever. And I'm just like, what? But they could sell more if they would do that content, but they don't. So it's like,
and then again like the content itself, any marketing, any video, it's never always going to guarantee you results, right? It's like that's the thing, like, and if anybody's selling it like that, it's like very risky.
Yeah, it is risky,
right? Like how like if you go shoot a video for somebody, he's like, oh, I'm gonna guarantee you I'm gonna make you $1 million off this video. That's a lot of pressure on yourself.
But if you make $1 million off that video, you can scoop like a big scoop of that budget, and it's like can use it for promotions or whatever, and maybe make it work, or maybe hire somebody to make sure those promises are met. But most people don't do that.
Right.
Like if you promise something, you need to be very, very sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility you could make $1 million from it, but I'm not going to guarantee that. Like that's what we're striving
guarantees
for.
cost money. Guarantees cost money.
It costs money. It costs your business. Like it's just way too much. You got to really be careful with that, man.
Yeah. Well, what I see, like, actually, this is a good topic that you brought up there. Like right now, there's like people running ads. I promise you channel growth to like this big amount, millions of views, and I found myself there kind of too, like I have 2 podcasts, and if I do the content that I can easily produce like 10,000 views a month, like with just like 2 days of work. It's basically you cut a couple reels every 3-4 days. I put up some reels that maybe get 2,000, 5,000 views, and that is just like casual, work. But if you really force it and you do it every day, obviously I can multiply that now by 30, whatever, and then I can promise those numbers, and that's like the average. And if you then post on multiple platforms, then you can increase those numbers as well. But sometimes content flops. And if it flops, then it's really hard to promise stuff. So it's like, what you can promise? And it's like,
Yeah, so I think with the content itself, right? I think again, this just goes to like what the pre-call is going to be about, right? Like right now I have a client, he's a music artist actually. Yeah. But I don't shoot his music videos. Yeah. Because like I like to make creative videos as part of like a package, but like I don't go and just shoot music videos, right? Yeah. There's videographers who do that, right? But he wants to build his branding. He's like, I want to be known for something. I want to understand like who I am more. So that's his goal. Like his goal was not even to get more streams. I mean that's like the cherry on top. Yeah. That's like the added on. But he's like, I want you to help me understand who I am. Yeah. So I can help drive and promote that later on, maybe into a YouTube channel, into like a podcast or anything like that. So it's like, okay, what do you like to talk about what do you like to sing about in your music? Yeah. Let's put that in conversation form. And then boom, we just go down the rabbit hole with topics, and then he gets more engagement, and then he's like, okay, he understands like, okay, like people really like me for this, or I like when I talk about this, because he's not gonna talk about anything he doesn't like. At the end of the day, he's gotta live with himself. Yeah. So like helping him find like what he really likes could be a goal, and then from there, if he's getting views, that's another add-on. So like it all depends on what the goal is. Now, like if somebody wants views and everything, I would probably just recommend like those broader topics of like,
that is a weird one though. I don't
views is hard. Views is a hard thing to sell. Views is something that like But that's what Ryan McGinn said. He's like, I work with mostly big accounts.
Because then it's easier to promise.
Exactly.
My thought process about like selling the views is like, okay, if I get full control over all the social media accounts, I kind of can promise like somewhere around 150,000 views to 1 million, somewhere. If I get access to 7 accounts. If I get 7 accounts and I can post on all of the accounts, let's say like I produce and shoot all the content how I want it, I can produce enough content for a whole month and post it on 7 platforms. And if you do like 7 times the average, like whatever you make with one reel a day, and you have the average of 4,000 views, and you post it 7 days in a row on 7 different platforms, it's like, then you can promise stuff, but it's also iffy. But then it's like, oh yeah, you get money back if you don't. And it's like, but nobody really wants to give you the account information till you prove it. And it's like so many things. But theoretically speaking, you could like, post on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and combine all the views in a total metric. And then you get those crazy numbers.
I mean, that's how people promote themselves. Like Ryan Pineda was saying that, I just collected the amount of views on all platforms and I just put it like, oh, I've generated over 1 million views in this. And that's all somebody needs to see to really just trust you. Yeah. But theoretically speaking, did he get 1 million views in one video? No. Yeah. Like even now, he doesn't really get millions of views like that. Not even him. And he's
a big guy.
He's blown up and everything. Yeah. But over time and just collecting it together, just simplify it for somebody, right? When you simplify things for your audience, then like they'll be like, okay, it's easier to understand. That's why like people are very big on like, make sure that you simplify the message, because we can talk about the technique.
Getting complicated, me trying to explain the technique, and you're like, what?
We could get like so into like the type of equipment we have in here, but like nobody's gonna know what we're talking about with like the setup of like like the recorder that you have and like the ins and the decibels and everything. Like how do you adjust that? Like we're gonna lose them. So it's like, how can we help them understand that in the 3rd grade, 2nd grade vocabulary?
Yeah, that is like very powerful. Like if you have a good sales pitch that is really easy to understand and provides like the value and hits the pain points of the client. That's the hardest part, like that's where I'm struggling too, kind of, sort of. It's like telling like, hey, I can provide all this value if I just get X, Y, and Z, and you want that, but because the delivery is poor, they don't like understand what's going on and they don't see the value.
I think even for me that's tough, dude. I mean, like for everybody, like it's just when you're like prospecting or just talking to people, you just don't know like what they're really thinking. I mean, at the end of the day, people are always thinking about the price.
It's like, oh, this is worth it.
How can we best justify the price? I mean, like I've been denied way many more times than I've been like approved for, but and I think for me, like even now, sometimes I'm just like, I feel like bad. I'm like, damn, did I not deliver that? Did I not deliver that value good enough for you? Is that why you feel like you can't pay my price? Like I feel bad about it.
I had that too. Like I had like a client, and they're like, I cannot do that budget, but can we do this budget? And I post. I'm like, okay, if you post, and then he got picky about what he wants to post. Now he's not posting enough. Now he posts the same amount as beforehand, but I got hired to produce more. So he's not posting the videos he's going to provide. And I'm just like, well, why are you even hiring somebody if you don't post the stuff that you get? At least upload everything.
It's tough because then it gives them, if they don't post, it gives them an excuse not to work with you again. It's like, no, post.
Yeah, and post. I'm just like, if I would post, man.
Because we need to collect data. Like, no, like, you need to post. Like, like if you say you're going to post, like, I'm going to be on top of you now if you don't.
That's like the thing. It's like, how much can you push? Like on the other end, it's like, I cannot promise you results if you do it. It's like, if you write the description, if you do the SEO and you've never done SEO in your life, it's like, what do you expect will happen? Yeah,
and then they're going to be depending on like the video itself to do great. It's like, it's not doing great. It's like, no, you're not marketing it. Like you said you were going to do.
Yeah, but having a video is just like one part. Like making a thumbnail for YouTube is the other part.
Yes.
Like, thumbnails are like more important than the video itself to get like, okay, I click on this only if they click on that and the title, the thumbnail is a banger, then they click on it. So the video could be perfect. Nobody knows.
The biggest secret with this, or something you didn't know in your 20s, or something you didn't know in your 30s, and then like you just go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, that's what YouTube is. Like that's like one of the biggest strategies on YouTube. And I think there's other deeper parts of like YouTube. Like for me, I keep YouTube as a bank.
Yeah.
You know, like because building a YouTube channel and building a following and selling products is all different.
It's,
you know, like
convoluted, hard to do.
Yeah. So for me, I'm like, I don't want to dive into YouTube. Like later on, I'm gonna probably get into YouTube and like really start like providing the value I can provide there. But right now, I just keep it as a bank. You know, like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's also like another thing is like when you spread yourself too thin, and that's what I kind of do. Do a little bit lens stands, I do a little bit podcasting, I'm doing a little bit YouTube, doing a little bit client work, doing a little bit wedding. You know, it's like everything is like very thin spread, but over a long period of time. So I have decent results and everything, but it's not amazing. If I would focus on one thing, I would do it amazing, but.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's
no,
like,
I get you. I think I think even me, like I get too caught up in like, like the quantity of like what the actual quality is. It's like, no, I know like your work is great, Fitz. Like I saw your work.
Take
I'm
the
like,
compliments.
dude, no, your work is great. I'm like, dude, you're killing it, bro. Like
we're trying.
You do some great work, man. Like this, I'm like, damn, like this is dope, man. Like I want something like this.
Just swing by.
Like this is awesome, bro. And like this is like a lot of value right there in itself, you know. And I think just like the validation that we give to ourselves and like how we hard on ourselves, like it's just like we're doing a lot better than we think, you know. We're just measuring too much of a number that's on the screen. Like who cares at the end of the day if it's gonna benefit you internally? And then eventually, well, not eventually, if it'll benefit you internally, then it will benefit you externally as well.
It's very powerful. So, but on this note, we're already at 1 hour and 33 minutes.
Holy shit, bro.
No, it's all Gucci though.
That's great.
What are like some closing statements, things you wish you would have said on the podcast?
Man, what I wish I would have said.
Yeah. Is there anything where you're like, okay, I got to promote this product, got to promote this course, got to promote my whatever? What?
Maybe I feel like I should have maybe like gone more deep into like my process and how I help storyboard and help people behind the camera. I think that's the biggest thing that they have issues with. Like,
what do you mean with that? Like storyboarding? So you help how to write the content, basically?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily write scripts for anybody.
Yeah.
Just because like when you write a script and you like put it there, it's like so robotic, you know. Like I like to,
key points. That's what I do.
That's why I like
most.
doing podcasts and everything, just because like the conversation is always natural.
Yeah.
But then also too, like, how do you help somebody be comfortable in front of the camera? Like you could watch videos on it, you could type AI on it and everything like that. I feel like me personally, like AI would like never threaten me or you if we learn how to like use our skills like to the right way. That's why I'm just like AI, whatever. Like if somebody wants to use AI for something, I'm kind of like, all right, cool, but I'll see you in a couple months.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Couple months.
Because I know that AI is not gonna last too long. But I think being like helping people with like in-person stuff is like I think my
community
biggest thing. Like the communication is like way better. Like if I had this podcast with you through Zoom, it wouldn't be as impactful, I feel, than in person.
Also the connection would be not there.
Exactly.
It's a weird thing. Like the internet is amazing and I love the internet. Like I'm very outgoing, I'm very dorky, you know. Like I'm not about flex life, I'm more about like, hey, I'm a dorky Fitz, I do whatever I feel like, and I'm reaching out to everybody and anybody. Some people are just like confused. I'm just like, why did the guy reach out?
You're being yourself, dude.
Yeah, and
like,
I'm just like,
that's the best way, man. Like people are gonna love Fitz who Fitz is. People are gonna love me for who I am.
But that's fine, you know. Like there's always the 50-50. Some people love you, some people hate you. It's maybe for gender, religion, whatever. And you can't make everybody love you, even though it would be nice.
No, never. And anything that we say, people are always gonna find like a bad thing to say, and I'm just kind of like, you know,
haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. Potatoes are gonna potate. You know, like that's what it is, man. But dude, like this was fun, bro. I loved it, man. I appreciate
it.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it too. Like I said, it's not like normal thing for most people to let's go to a stranger's house and have a podcast.
No. I mean, like I said, like it would have been weird if came up in like my requests like tab on IG. You know how people don't follow you, like it comes up as like requested messages or something like that.
I do that sometimes.
But then we were following each other, and then I'm like, oh, I remember him from the event. When you saw that, I'm like, oh, dude,
Okay,
I'm good.
Sweet.
Unless you got somebody ready to strangle me right now, like I don't know.
That's how we fund the podcast.
right. Where's your money? Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. On that note, like I think that was a banger podcast. Yeah.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you,
so
man.
where should they follow you before we forget here? Giving you shout outs.
Yeah. Go ahead and follow me at I'm Your Storyteller on Instagram. I'm at Your Storyteller 1 on TikTok. I think somebody took my original name. I had to add the 1 in there on TikTok. Yeah. I'm Your Storyteller on YouTube and Facebook, and you can just follow me on there.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, so on this note, thanks for watching Create Before Consume. Podcast from creators for creators.
Pleasure being on.
Let's go. Yeah, so what are you...